sawa eyokubiri eno tutera okubeera n'abakulu okuva mu bitongole bya gavumenti ebitali bimu na leero ate tulina abakulu tugenda tunuulira ku nsonga y'okubala abantu n'ebintu National Housing and Population Census 2024 yetugenda otunuulira olunaku olwaleero. Bit changing from Luganda to English, isn't it, Mr. Dondotho?
Yes.
Will you speak Luganda?
No, let's do English.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You can say hi to our viewers.
Good morning and hi to all of you and to my friend here and dressed in red this early morning and very smart.
Thank you.
My name is Charles Odongtho and I am a spokesperson of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Okay.
But for purposes of this discussion, I sit as a member on the subcommittee on communication and advocacy for the National Population Census, Population and Housing Census, that is what it is called in full. Our role as the subcommittee, there are a number of committees. There is finance, there is statistics,
okay.
And then of course there is the advocacy and communication, which is charged with ensuring that people get to know about the census, that we publicize the exercise and ensure that everybody is brought on board. So I sit on that committee, but something that many people do not know, there is at the apex in terms of the administrative arrangement, political leadership of census is under the Prime Minister of Uganda. And it is chaired, the political supervision is chaired by the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja. Okay. So that's how I came to, from communications, that's how I come to be on this subcommittee. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I thought that is important for us to know.
That's very important.
So good morning, and everybody join us to ensure that the exercise runs well.
Thank you. Now let's know about the census. This exercise, we last conducted this exercise in 2014?
Yes, the last one was 2014.
Yes, and we are coming to 2024 now.
Yes.
10 years.
Usually the census is actually supposed to be done in intervals of 10 years. That's what our policy is. And I think many other countries as well, because it is a hectic exercise. Okay. It is draining in terms of administration, in terms of resources, financial and personnel as well. And because you are counting literally everybody and what their activities are, especially socio-economic and all that, because census is used for planning purposes, for putting in place policy and for making sure that everybody is taken care of. That is what census is about. The interval of 10 years is usually supposed to ensure that everything is put in place, and that, you always think that after 10 years, you have got a lot of new development happening. Yes. If you were 18 last 10 years, now you are 28.
28.
It is possible.
There are many changes there.
Exactly. Yeah. You have grown older, so you need to be planned for with the changes that have come in. Then you have also got children. Yes. Now God could have given you some children. You have got now a new partner, a wife or a husband. So those changes now is expected that within a period of 10 years at least there is a marked change in someone's life, and the population has grown. I think this is going to be the 6th, is it the 6th or the 7th since independence, because this is I think the 11th since we started. The first census we did in Uganda was in 1911. That's about 100 years, about 110 years now. So since then we have had those number of censuses, and like you rightly pointed out, the last one was in 2014. So we are set. The national, the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is set, and everything is now in place. Actually, one of the last exercises is very important today, There is a meeting going to take place. It's supposed to start in the next 1 hour at Sheraton. All the religious leaders from the leaders of or representatives of religious leaders from across the country, the interreligious groups are supposed to meet the management of UBOS.
Okay.
And because we are trying to rally support of any kind. In the plan for communication, we looked at religious leaders are very important, opinion leaders, very important.
They influence a lot.
Exactly.
Yes.
People listen to them a lot, and people trust their information,
Okay.
and they are a rallying point. We have also looked at rallying musicians.
Okay.
We, of course, the person who has been in the lead for rallying people was President Museveni. He launched the exercise in December. I think it must have been, is it the 12th or the 20th? No, it was around the 12th. Okay. in Kololo at the ceremonial grounds, and it was a big national exercise. But initially, to kickstart the whole process, he first launched it around 2022 and rallied people. And so we have been looking on Monday, was it on Monday or Tuesday this week, the Census Commissioner General for Census, who is the executive director for UBOS, and his team, they met MPs from the national economy, and to again, bring to the country up to speed with what is going on. So those are a number of exercises that have been going on in our docket, in our subcommittee.
Okay.
But also at a technical level, there is something called listing of households. Listing of households is one of the most important critical exercises, and it took 14 days. The one of Kampala was the last, which was done just recently. That listing of households is important to set in place and establish administrative units.
Okay.
For operation purposes.
Okay.
And minus it, you cannot actually plan, so to speak, how you are going to run the exercise. Because when you list the households, you go, every place one by one, every district, parish level, villages.
Yes, I've seen some local authorities, local leaders there.
Yes. The
moving
local
with
leaders.
their books.
Exactly.
Trying to list out the
Exactly.
households they have in their jurisdictions.
Thank you very much. So that exercise is important because then it informs you
Okay.
of what is the size of the country, the census constituency. In this case, we are talking about Uganda.
Yes.
So it informs you that the country is divided into so many units. Then you can tell that now we need so many people as enumerators. We need maybe so many supervisors. There are, of course, units that don't change until Parliament changes them, like the districts. So we know that there are 146 districts across Uganda. Now, under the 146 districts, how many maybe sub-counties are there? Then how many parishes are there? We know that there are about 10,594, something thereabout, parishes in Uganda. So then you will know that we need the district, of course,
Okay.
a set administrative unit. We know that we need 146 supervisors at the district. So how many supervisors will you have at the sub-counties? How many will you have at the parishes?
Parish level.
Then how many enumerators will
Enumerators
you
will be
have?
having in that.
Yes.
Within the enumeration areas.
Exactly. There are about 110 enumerators, 110,000 enumerators that have been recruited
Okay.
across Uganda, and the enumerators are going to work with the tabs, with the electronic system, digital system, to collect the data and information from you.
This
from
time is
me.
not for books.
This time it is not for books. This one is for us. What do you call it? Before computers, the BCs. that we are going to put aside.
Okay.
It is going to be something like this on the tabs. That's why they are calling it the digital census this time. So that is what, so far, I can share with you. Maybe if, as we are discussing, there are other things we can share.
Okay.
But I think that the listing of households that has been completed now successfully marks now the beginning now of the real exercise. And then something else that the country, our people need to know is an important information that we need to know is that the census is going to take place, the enumeration itself will be from the 10th.
10th of May?
Yes,
okay.
Up to the 19th. Those are 10 days, right? But so there is what we call the census night, which is the 9th, and which is because that is the night that will usher us into the census,
yes.
you know, and into the enumeration, which starts on the 10th. Now, the 10th has been, fortunately, has been marked out as a public holiday. It is going to be a Friday,
okay.
10th of May. It is going to be a public holiday. So the appeal to all Ugandans out there is that we need to take those days very seriously, and let us welcome the census, the enumerators. Let us welcome the officials who are working on this all over Uganda, and let us remain at home or at our stations where we are. It is better you are found where you are so that you can be enumerated. One important thing that I want to say as far as census is concerned is that Uganda is a very political country,
yes.
and which is a good thing. It means people are civically aware, people are informed, people are interested in the running of their country. But sometimes we get taken up by the politicking. You know, I tend to try to put a distinction between politicking and politics,
and
because
we always politicking each and
yes.
everything, each activity.
Exactly, yeah. And that is negative. And that is not good, because some people can be gullible, and we may end up misinforming them.
Yes, yes.
I think what is important, we need to be patriotic in you know, there should be a certain level of patriotism in each of us, and that an exercise like this is an exercise which is supposed to be non-partisan. It is for you, it is for me, it is for another person, it is for national planning, it is for policy guidance and policy information. So we need not to, you know, politic about it negatively. Instead, MPs, local leaders, religious leaders, our religious leaders, everybody, opinion leaders, you know, local council leaders, all of us should be calling upon people to come up and accept to be counted, accept to be, so that then we can use it for planning. Even I have been saying that even opposition people need census. Why?
They need it.
Because in the next 2 years, right?
We are going for election.
Yes. So as a person who is a contestant in an election, you want to know the number of people in your area. You see. So isn't it? So for me, I think that the census, in my view, results or report or the statistics can be used by anybody the way they choose. You see. So whether you are opposition or a civil society actor or a government person or a civil servant, you need the census. Yeah, so for me, I think that is what is important, and we need to rally people to...
Are these enumerators really ready for the digital census?
Who?
Enumerators.
The enumerators are ready.
We're running it digital this time.
We are running it digital, yes. And what digital means is that they are going to be having, you know, using the GPS systems,
yes.
the global positioning systems through through the modern technology. That every detail of that they get from you will be inputted. Is that a correct English somehow? Will be input into the gadget, the machine, and then it will capture that and keep for record purposes. That I didn't get your name clearly.
Paul.
Thank you. Nice name. So the details of Paul, when they are picked, they are inputted into the tab, and it will capture it, and then it will and even the recruitment exercise was done through a digital system. You remember that the calls that UBOS made to young people to participate in the enumeration as enumerators, as supervisors, was also done, and they did their applications digitally. So, but that is, and the mapping of Uganda was also done digitally and all that kind of thing. Modern technology is important because it makes things easy. That is what it means that we are going to have a paperless census. We are going to have a digital census.
This time even enumerators want to move with the maps on papers.
Everything will be in the tabs.
Okay.
Everything will be in the tabs. So of course, technology, which we pray does not happen. Technology always, whether it is a plane or a car, technology can always have some hiccup. And what UBOS has put in place is, mitigation. One of the mitigation measures is we have the government has bought an extra 10,000 or so tabs. There are 110 that will be deployed outright at first, but there are some 10,000 extra in case there is a fault with the digital system, so that you ensure that it is a faultless system. But that is what the digital means, and that is what the paperless census means this time. So we pray and hope that everything will go unhinged.
Okay. We heard of the other time we had some challenges.
Which time?
2014.
Yeah.
I was part and partial within Machindi.
You participated in it. So you are as old as me as well.
I participated as well. 2014 I participated there in Machindi. But there are some challenges. Now, like in cities, there are challenges of leadership still, politicking as you said, but there are issues of, we had these villages were subdivided into different, we created some new villages within the villages. So there are some places where we found out that it is not such really known to some leaders. And then enumerators brought a lot of challenges there. I don't know whether this time it is well arranged for the leaders in identifying these areas.
That's an interesting one. I think that I don't remember. Of course, I was already, 2014, I was already a practicing journalist, and I participated in the exercise as a journalist. I was counted. Maybe I've forgotten whether there was a listing done of households. That the reason why this listing of household and mapping them using GPS system is done is because to avoid those kind of mistakes and challenges. And I think that also the way this time we have tried to bring on board all major stakeholders, including religious leaders who know these areas better than the LC, the LC officials, local council officials. I hope and I think that it is going to have less such challenge because local leaders know their areas. It just needs us to tap on them and maybe, from top down and know that if Makindye maybe I come from Nakawa division myself, and I've been there for close to 30 years within Nakawa. And what I know is that if there is a division called Nakawa, and then there is a village called Chigoa, you know, when I go to my chairperson of LC1 and I'm talking to him, sometimes he starts reeling off all these places, corners, where there are people who are drinking, where there are schools, where there are health centers. So they know. And I think that UBOS has had enough time to interact with all these people at different levels. And then, of course, we are using television like Channel 44 here. We are using radio stations which reaches to many people, you know, in all the languages across Uganda. And then, of course, there are, you know, security organs who are ensuring that everything is going to be done in a peaceful manner, that people are not disturbed, there is no insecurity. So I think that there will be as less fault or as less challenge as possible.
Are we involving foreigners in this exercise?
Yes, you know, population and housing census counts everybody who happens to be within the boundaries or within the jurisdiction of Uganda on the night.
Yes.
Or as long as the night of 9th, as it crosses into 10th, finds you within the boundaries of Uganda, you will be counted. Unfortunately, the way it is...
In listing housing, the exercise which has been concluded, I had issues still in Machinga there. We have many foreigners there, Sudanese, Somalis, Eritreans, I mean, Congolese are there.
They will be counted.
But even this, in the exercise, we had issues with the leaders. They are listing these households. Some of them, they refused to be listed.
I think that the listing involves also marking.
Yes.
You understand? I remember, like last time, they would mark, and you know that you will pass here. This is a household, this is a household, this is a household. Now, I don't think someone is supposed to refuse. Because population census is a compulsory exercise. You understand? I think there is a different way it can be dealt with. I don't want to say someone has to be forced. What is important is that it is like when you are sick. When you're sick, you have to go to a hospital.
The alternative is to go to the hospital.
Yes, otherwise you will die, you see. So I think that what we are doing is to appeal to the hearts and to the minds, that to reason generally. Of every Ugandan, that please allow yourself to be counted. This is not one of the myths that people have around census is that the results are going to be used to maybe tax poll additional money or something like that. But far from it, that's not true. What is true is that there is what is going to be collected is there are about 5 important things that are supposed to be established. How many people are there within the boundaries of Uganda? Then where you are, like you talked about location. You are from Makindye, I will be found in Tinda, within Nakawa. And then how we are living our lives, you know, because you will be asked on the standard you are living. Someone will say, you know, I eat only twice a day. I only eat breakfast with the muogo and muogo with the mkalo in the morning, and then I eat again at 3 p.m. one meal, and it is only matoke with binyebwa or something like that, and that is the only thing I eat. And then in the evening at 8, I drink mukalo. You understand? Tea without sugar, just dry tea. Those are some of the things that will be found, the quality of living. And then there will also be, you know, what we own. Do you have goats like there are 10? Do you have a farm with 20 cows? Do you have a car? Does your family have maybe 10 cars or 1 car or none at all? So that's what we own. And then also where we access services from. Some of the questions will be asking you, where do you go to a health center? Where do you go to a hospital? Which hospital do you go to? Where do you access maybe a road from, and that kind of thing. So all that will be gathered and then will be fed into the system, and then it will, because that is those 5 are very important to establish. And far from the fact that some people are saying that this is to ask you what you own and then to tax you, because the census data is not supposed to be used for taxing people. That's a different game altogether. Yeah, so I think that it's a wrong idea for anybody to try to decampaign the exercise. I think for me, I am educated, I'm knowledgeable, and I am critical of anything suspicious for myself, for my family, and for the country. So I cannot be sitting on a big television, national television like this, and lying to the country. I wouldn't do it. So for me, I think that I have just followed it. I know what census is done across the world,
not only in Uganda.
Not only in Uganda. And census, by the way, Channel 44 is a religious network. Go back in history. Even Jesus was counted. You remember, Jesus, when he was born, the parents took him for counting, for the exercise. That was census. You see. So census is as old as biblical times. It is as old, I think, as mankind. So we need to encourage people to go for it, and it will be well. Yeah.
As government is planning, what's my role as a citizen there? For the few days remaining.
Very interesting question there. As citizens, we need to mobilize each other. Yes, Paul and I are citizens with a rather additional role of, being in a special industry, media or ministry or something like that. But for the ordinary person, one, be available on the census night. Be within the country if you can. Be around on the night of 9th and on the 10th, which is a public holiday. Stay at home. Unless you have work that you must go to, stay at home. But if you have work, be at that work. You will still be enumerated from that work. And then ensure that you present yourself and cooperate with the enumerators. We are projecting that we estimate that from there were dry runs that were done, trials of how using the tab and all that. People were trained, and then trials done to establish the effectiveness of the whole system, the infrastructure. And so we project that ideally an enumerator should take 40 to 45 minutes maximum with Paul, who is 40 to 45 minutes each person. I think now within the 10 days from the 10th to the 19th, when the enumeration exercise ends, it is projected that every enumerator will enumerate up to about 133, average of 133 respondents across the country where they are placed. Now, we are appealing to the population out there. Don't over-engage the enumerators. You know, sometimes because we are good Africans, African culture, sometimes when you pass by home in African, for me in my culture, among the Alur people, in Nebi there, when you come home, whatever you're doing, you must have something to eat. There is some coffee somewhere, you know.
Even here in Uganda.
Yes, even, of course. You
can't leave home without taking a glass of water.
Exactly. I know it's the same thing in our Buganda here. I've lived here more than I've lived in my own home, so I know that. So we are appealing to you out there that please don't do that. If maybe water, you know, we don't also want to be overly unappreciative of the culture. Maybe if it is just water in a bottle, you want, but don't engage the enumerator and say, please wait for lunch. Because that is time that they are supposed, it is back to back, they are supposed to move to the next. They have enumerated Paul, they have to go to Charles, they have to go to Judith, they have to go to maybe Melanie's home and that kind of thing. So we should try as much as possible to avoid that. The other thing is that let us disabuse ourselves and of this myth. I keep repeating it. The myth that this is a political tool of the NRM or of the government in power. Any government that will be in power or that is in power at the time census is done will do it. You see, that is what we have to know. So it is, census is an international exercise. It is an exercise, and the standards are set by, the standards of census are actually set by the UN. You know, it is one of those mandatory exercises globally that every government has to do. So it shouldn't be something that should divide people. It should actually be something that unites people. So let's ensure that we mobilize ourselves. Even you, the ordinary person, you remind someone who is your neighbor, remind your children, remind your spouse, remind your, you know, everybody you live with, that today is census night. Let's be home, and the counting is beginning, enumeration, if you like it, is beginning tomorrow, and let's ensure that we do it. And talking about the people might think that, might ask questions. I've had this question, that who is responsible for it? The law, the 19 UBOS, the UBOS Act, it is 1998 Act, mandates the Uganda Bureau of Statistics to be the one in charge of, you know, establishing, you know, supervising, collecting data that is used for statistical purposes across the country, statistical systems. The mandate rests with the UBOS. It is not that someone has appointed someone that, you know, now, Paul, you go and do it on my behalf, I'm a party X. None of that. It is far from that.
Okay.
Yeah, the truth is that it is the law that mandates, that gives the mandate to UBOS, and UBOS is supposed to, once they have collected data, analyzed it, and these are scientific people, these are people who are scientifically trained to do it, they are Ugandans, and they are doing it on behalf of all of us. They are supposed to ensure that in the Act, their functions are provided for, to ensure that there is uniform statistics that is shared across the country, that everybody can access that kind of statistics, that there is a timely release of those statistics and the usage. So it is something that we all have to rally around, and for me, my appeal is to religious leaders, to all the local
traditional
councils,
leaders.
Traditional, very important, by the way.
Leaders.
Like for us here in Buganda, you know, the king is very important, and he's like number one, and is listened to. So they should rally people. Mengo should rally people and inform them and tell them that, you know, please educate them and sensitize them and tell them, you people, you go and ensure that you stay at home and you are enumerated. So we need to use all those forums, you know, and local council leaders and the like, so that the census is successful.
Thank you, my senior journalist, Charles. With the interest of time, I'm running in for news. I'm running in for the time of news updates all over the world.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you in the show this morning.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Okay.
Yes.
Charles is now the spokesperson, Office of the Prime Minister. We are glad to have you this morning. You are talking about the national planning, national population and housing census 2024. Thank you so much. Ababadde kuna mugoberera gye twatandikidde kuva ku makya gye tutuuse olwaleero. This show always runs in Luganda, but for today's interest we have.
I wish I had prepared for Luganda.
I know you couldn't. By the time I've been.
What is census in?
Okubala abantu.
Okubala.
Step rest, have a nice day.